Hello guys and gals, this is Maximus with live replay, if that's a thing. A commentary replay between Galatia and Arevaci, and Stormcrow will command the Galatians. And I believe I've played Stormcrow before. You can see our builds here. I'll go over them once more when we get to the deployment. But you get a fairly good idea of what my plan is just by looking at the build. So, I brought 6 Iberian swords, followed by, I believe, 5 Scutari, or 4 Scutari, 3 noble fighters up front, flanks consisting of Scutari spears, identical flanks, Iberian cavalry. My opponent, from what I can see, has 2 Galatian raiders, which are decent skirmish cavalry and pretty good in melee compared to a lot of the other horse skirmishers. Then we have a mix of Celtic slingers and skirmishers, so he has 4 Celtic slingers, 2 Celtic skirmishers, and Galatian spears, Galatian noblemen, Galatian noblemen, and these Galatian noblemen are spear units, so I don't know that they're the best unit to pick against Arevaci. Galatian legionaries, pretty tough units up in the center, and just some levy freeman speed bump. Now, my opponent, he has the most favorable deployment by far here. He can push up this way and get a lot of good shots down with his skirmishers. And if I was going to flank around effectively, I would have to go around here or just eat missiles all the way up here. So, not much I can do about that at the moment, but we are starting, and I'm just going to move in the general direction of my opponent. I don't really need to protect anything. He doesn't have good shock cav, and skirmish cav takes a while to kill anything, so I'm just going to move up all my guys, put them fast forward, and play. So, if the engagement takes place, my opponent has the ranged skirmishing advantage, but I have kind of a hidden skirmishing advantage if my opponent isn't aware of the skirmishing capabilities of these Iberian swords. He probably is though, but it can still be a nasty surprise. So I'm going to push these guys up here to look for hidden units, and I can see 2 horse here, so I figure he's got 2 more horse hidden somewhere. There we go, coming out of the woods. I'm going to take some shots, but I notice these guys, and hopefully I'm going to be able to start charging them soon. Yep, there we go. Frenzy charge, so kind of just want these guys removed as quick as possible. I won't be able to defeat them here, but it will allow me to chase them for a while and hopefully manage to catch them. They are faster than me, but with the frenzy charge I might just be able to, and yep, there they make contact. And you'll see these Galatian raiders, they can take a charge. At least these Iberian cavalry are not very good cavalry, and they are getting shot up, so. Okay, here we start with the engagements. Sending in my noble fighters as my front line. They have massive charge, getting a decent charge against these Galatian legionaries, dropping fast. Following up with Scutari in the center here, and more noble fighters. The noble fighters are going to charge these Galatian legionaries. Now he has this speed bump here, but I think this was a mistake, removing his speed bump infantry, because they would have managed to eat the charge here. But now his Galatian legionaries and his noble fighters are going to take the charge, and these are much more expensive units, so bit of a micro mistake there, I think. I'm just going to charge straight up, flank around here, and of course his general is a prime target, so I'm going to use my Iberian swords to inflict some casualties on his general. They're taking fire. You can see the javelins raining in here. And over here was able to defeat my horse, but here I'm throwing some javelins with my Skutari, and I got 7 kills on them. These guys are slightly depleted as well, so I'm going to chase them here so they won't be able to get rear charges over here. And I'm just keeping these guys in reserve to wait for an opportunity to swing around here and down to go for rear charges and to take care of these Celtic slingers. Their effectiveness is somewhat hampered by the terrain. These Skutari were up against legionaries and skirmishers, and they're losing, but overall I am doing fairly well in this melee. Noble fighters moving in. I don't know what happened to my general, why he stopped here. I'm not quite sure what happened. Iberian swords are firing, and as soon as these horse, as soon as he removes this horse, I'm just going to push these guys up and go down to take care of the skirmishers. Overall, not losing too many men. His flank is starting to weaken, with the entire front of Galatian legionaries being smashed by my noble fighters, which are superior troops, but they are also much more expensive. But as you can see, racking up kills very quickly indeed. So his flank is gone. Now it's just a matter of finishing off these few infantry units, and his skirmishers, with their poor morale, should rout. So I'm just going to, instead of chasing after all of the skirmishers, I'm going to mainly focus on these guys that are doing the most damage, and then just rely on these guys routing. So his general hasn't seen much combat yet, but he's been severely depleted by these Iberian swords. You can see a lot of them have attack orders here. Skutari is starting to waver. And here I was able to get a rear charge down here. I'm just pulling through because these guys took a lot of casualties and they have low morale. So I'm going to be able to take out 3 Celtic slingers here. And even though he has Inspire on or Rally, it doesn't really make much of a difference. They are routing. You can see the kills rising fairly nicely there. And now it's mainly got this depleted general unit left and some Galatian nobles. Like I said, I don't know that Galatian nobles is the best choice against Arevaci. I would much rather like to see Galatian swords, for example. Because Arevaci, like Lusitani, doesn't have really good cavalry. You can bring the noble horse, but they are not. I don't think they're worth bringing compared to their very good mid-range swords. So here my Skutari spears are fighting his Galatian spears and beating them. My Celtiberian cavalry starting to rout, but not before taking out some more guys over there. Skutari spears are charging in. His general is going, and that's the end of the battle. Now we'll see a chain rout very quickly, although many of his units aren't even engaged. So he's going to go GG, and that's the end of this fight. So let's have a look at the result screen here. My opponent brought 5 spears and 5 swords. Now I had, granted these aren't very good sword units, but they can help a bit. I brought 8 swords and 3 spears, and this unit doesn't really count. These skirmishers, not really effective against the Rush army, because half his army was skirmishers, and in order to make use of that, he really has to be able to hold with his infantry or be able to kite away and have a mobility advantage. Now, I was able to ignore his skirmishers for a lot of the battle and then just destroy his infantry. And when you have all these units with low morale, all it really takes is 1 unit of cavalry to get through, and then you have huge problems. Because your skirmishers are gone, you have a fairly weak infantry corps, and a unit like the Arevaci, where you basically, you know what the Arevaci is going to bring. It's going to be strong swords, possibly skirmishers, and they will be able to stand and fight pretty effectively with you. They won't have strong cavalry, so probably you won't probably need a lot of good spears to stop shock cav and such. But well played to my opponent, good game, and see you again on the battlefield.